All right, Len Nevin here with Icon Blueprint. I want to show you a little trick, right? So a lot of people are moving from CRM to CRM, right? And this is kind of a cumbersome type thing. I've moved multiple CRMs. So in a quick nutshell, I'm just trying to think here real quick. I had a full Microsoft Outlook database, thousands of people in there, right? And then I moved over to I can't even remember. Keller Williams had it. I don't even remember what they called it anymore, but it was basically Market Leader's website. So I moved all my people in there, and then we adopted at one point Follow Up Boss. So I moved everybody into there, and then with Follow Up Boss, I went from there into I can't remember the name of that one. There's all these different CRMs. And so moved into that one, and we had to build out a custom piece for that one. And it was actually, I really liked that database. We had to have a separate website connected, so there was a lot of interactions with like Zapier, and I had Contactually at one point. Most recently I had Brivity. So that was the big one, right? I was with Brivity for many years, probably about 5-6 years. I went from Brivity over to Kvcore, and now we're moving into Lofty, which is Chime, or Chime was Curator. Now Curator, I believe, used to do Follow Up Boss as kind of their back end, but then they started their own CRM. But that's just my rumor, so don't take that as truth. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take a small snippet of my leads here, and I'm going to export these, and then I'm going to move them into Lofty, and I'm going to show you a couple different things. They have a thing where you can, it says it's Kvcore that you're importing from. I've been playing with it. I'm going to be completely honest, it misses some things. So let's just get going on this, and I'll kind of show you what we're doing. With eXp Realty, we have the team set up with Kvcore, right? And so it allows us to, the benefit of it, one of the things I really liked about it is, one, everything's in there, everybody's in there. Everybody gets the free site, they can build their custom sites, all that fun stuff, right? And it was a pretty low cost of being able to add as many unlimited amount of team members as you wanted to inside the system for no additional cost, right? Now they get you on some other things, and every CRM does, so I'm not going to rag on them for that. So without further ado, I'm going to dig into here and kind of show you what I've done. Now I've got some different filters already set up, but long story short, here we are. Now I'm into Kvcore here, and you can see I've got some listings selected, and so I'm just going to select these, right? And I'm going to go over to more actions, and I'm going to export these. Now it's saying it's 104 contacts. That's fine. That works. Like I said, I just grabbed a small snippet just for this case, because otherwise these queues take forever if you've got too many people in there. One of the things I usually recommend doing when you're doing an export, especially with this type of stuff, especially when you're moving over, is once you're done with it, I would go in here and I would add a tag, right? So I need to know who has done what. So I'm going to add a tag here, and I'm just going to do, I think I have export already as export to Lofty. Yeah, exported to Lofty, right? So I've got an exported to Lofty tag. And so anytime I'm doing an export, I can add inside my filters inside of Kvcore. I can go into here and I can just put hashtag not exported to Lofty, right? And so now when I'm running through that filter and I hit apply filters, what it's going to do is it's going to make sure that I'm not sending anybody over, right? And so now my job is I've got to wait. There it is. So I've already got the email. So I'm going to pause this video let's see. So I'm just going to grab this email real quick. Grab the download. YouTube doesn't like it when they see names and email addresses. It doesn't mind names, but you can't show email addresses. So it's downloading the Excel file real quick. Boom, that's downloaded. Now I'm going to go into Lofty, and I'm just going to go to people, and under people you hit this add, import leads. It brings you right to here, and from here I'm just going to go to my downloads. And hang on, before I do this, so you'll see it's got Kvcore. So I'm going to drop that, and so what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to have a few different, it'll map a few fields, but it's not going to grab everything I want it to. What did that say? Did not like that. Where did I download that thing to? Hang on one second. It did not like where I downloaded it. It went to, it says downloads, combined. All right, let's try that again. Kvcore, combined, the upload document should be less than 8 megs. Why is that so big? Give me 1 second here. Let's try it again. I'm gonna re-download that. That one was happy, but guess what I forgot to do? I now forgot to I forgot to do the Kvcore drop. There we go. See, even us people who do this all the time, we get messed up on this stuff. So, all right, so now I have some names in here. This is gonna be blurred out, so you can't really see the names and email addresses for purpose of Google not taking down this video. But one of the things I'm going through, right, is as I go through, I've got first name, last name, email, pipeline. That status is closed. On these ones, like I said, I grabbed some from the last year, put those in here. Deal type, buyer. I do want that. I want to know what the last one was. So that's lead type. Source, I like the source, like it says here, Brevity IDX. Agent notes, boom, bring that over. That's good. Phones, bring them all over. Now, here's an issue, right? It changed this into decimals, right? So this is where you've got to go into your Excel file sometimes and clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to open this thing real quick, and you'll probably see that these, because phone numbers shouldn't have decimals. So when I go in here, it's not doing it here. So I don't know why it brought all those in like that. But what I'm going to do is, instead of having it set up with numbers, I'm just going to format all of this. Format cells, and I'm just going to list it as text. And then that way, or general, and then that way it's fine. Save. I don't care. Save over. Go. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to re-download. So these are little things you got to pay attention to, because otherwise you're going to upload your thing and you're going to be like, what in the world's happening? Now, the nice thing about this system is you can reverse out. So if you've got an upload that you put in there and it gets totally just jacked up, you can reverse it and it'll remove all that entire upload. In other CRMs, I've done stuff where I've imported it and then I'm just spending hours. I mean, I've spent hours just chasing stuff down, looking for just whatever I did, right? And just trying to clean that up. So, all right. Once again, first name, status, pipeline, good. Import, lead type. Phone numbers look good now. They don't have the decimal points anymore. Average price. So this was based off of the search that I had set up for them at one point, because one of the things that Kvcore does, right, inside of Kvcore, if you set up a market report for a client and they start opening it, what it does is it creates a property search automatically for your people inside that category. And so for me, I like that, but that's what this is pulling right here, right? So I'm debating on whether or not I want to do this or not. But you know, why not, right? So we're going to go import, and we're going to go over to inquiry buyers. And so this is going to be, this average price. And let's see if it gives me a bedroom count for the buyer side. There it is, bedroom count. So all I'm doing is I'm mapping these out. And so this is where I was saying, you can't just click on the upload. You can't just click Kvcore, upload, boom, 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 done. Because you're missing all this data that can be put over here, when you're doing this stuff. And that, to me, could be detrimental. So listing type. So let's see if it gives me this, single family versus, yeah, there goes types. And there's the not mailing city, see, and that's where it's a mismap, in my opinion. So inquiring city, I like the registration date, that's already on there. It's already going to go to me, that's fine. Careful of these email, that's not an email address, that's a do not import. Do not import. I like to import hashtags, I think they're important, so we're going to import those tags. And you're kind of looking through, you're not really seeing stuff. These ones or zeros anniversary message, that's on or off is basically what that was. So as I go through here, phone, that looks fine. Email description, I don't think I need that. Email number 2, husband's email. Let's see, last closing date. I'm going to import that as a note because you have to put that into like a transaction versus something else. I'll show you in another video how to do that. All right, now we're getting into do not import. So this is where I was saying, like, if you hit Kvcore and you just send over, you're going to miss a lot of information. So now I have some addresses, right? So in here, primary address, I need to map this. So it says do not import. I'm going to put this to mailing address. So in this instance, that says full mailing address. I'm going to go here, mailing address there, mailing city, mailing state. Why is mailing state? See, mailing state is gone, so I'm going to look, and I'm going to see if I can find where it says mailing state. Already checked. Yeah, look at that. Mailing state. So do not import. Now I can go back down, back to mailing state. It should be available now. Yep. Mailing zip. Boom. I don't know what that rating is. These are like the Kvcore scoring things. Email's fine. Secondary address. Yeah, I mean, this is where, so once again, as an EXP agent, what I'm doing is we're moving our entire team from Kvcore over to Lofty, and we did it. EXP does have a relationship with Lofty, so individual agents can get a really good deal on Lofty for their own personal business. We opted to just go standalone for the team because the team structure for the inside of Kvcore, or sorry, inside of EXP was basically every agent buy their own access, and then we can group it as a team. I'm not going to lie, it would have been cheaper for me as the team leader, but then it would have added like 65 extra bucks per month or more based off our team package that we have with Lofty. It would have added expenses to everybody. And if I'm a team member, I'm going, well, this is lame. Like, this is not, I didn't join a team to all of a sudden have to pay for my CRM. That, to me, that's a value proposition that a team offers, right? So, but long story short, I'm never going to lose any of the information that I have inside of Kvcore as long as I'm with EXP. So when we moved over to Brevity, I paid for Brevity for an additional year, so that when we were missing information, we could go back and dig. This will be nice as long as I'm with EXP, I'm going to have that information. And if I pull up Joe Schmo and I can't find his info, or there's something missing, I can go in and I can read what I had inside of Kvcore. So that'll be very Very helpful in my opinion. So for instance, like I said, we're looking at a secondary home. Inside of Kvcore, you can add property, add property, add property. And so, here's property info selling, and it gives you the option of adding selling one, selling two. And so if you have somebody who has multiple properties, you can do this. I've already done the mailing address, so now I'm going to do the secondary address and right now through this piece, because there's a lot of people. We have a lot of clients who are investors, and so they have multiple properties. And one little issue that I have with Kvcore is that you're only really given the space for one additional property. So if you have a client with 5, 6 properties, you can't just go in there and see them all. You can only see one of them, and you have to put it in the notes. And it doesn't allow you to move things around, things like that. So we're going to go back into here. Where was I? Secondary address. So here we go, secondary address. This person doesn't have one, but that's blocked off. But we're going to go street address, and then we're just mapping this out, right? City, state, zip. That's it. I don't have any interest in trying to put there's no field on pricing for that anyway. So spouse's name, it's already going in, family member, blah, 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 which is fine. Email, voicemail blocked, so that's not really where that should be. Wife's email, that's fine. Do not import, do not import, do not. Okay, that's it. So that's part, right? So you saw it took a couple minutes. I really wish that, to me, it would be really cool to be able to just go up here and hit like a save template so that it would just automatically go back to those again. But you make a video like this and I can always go back and see what I did. So now I can go back, hit next. So now it's going to ask me some questions, right? So set these leads as imported as team leads or private leads. Now these are my personal leads, so I'm going to put them as private. If I was going to put them as team, I could put them as team and just say assigned to me, which is fine. But I'm going to put them as private. Segment, I don't need a segment for them. These are all closed. There's no need to do any of these segments except for maybe I just put SOI because, past client is a sphere of influence in my opinion. I'm going to merge any leads. So if I've already got people in Lofty, I don't need duplicate leads. And I don't want it to skip it. So there you go. Automatic to opt in, automatically text in. Yes, I agree. One thing I do like to do, so I'm a big fan of, and this is why we're kind of moving over a little bit slower than maybe some people would. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add these also to need to parse out. So the reason why I'm going to add it to need to parse out, this is inside of Lofty, and I'll see if I can show you here real quick, just to show you the header piece, right? So if you look at the header piece here, you've got all leads, new leads, outbound. So there's some that's pre-built in here. And then you can add to these if you want to. You can subtract them. And then you've got basically what they call segments. And so when you're opening up a lead, you can basically parse them out twice, right? So if you've got a new lead, so I'll put in there new lead needs to be contacted. So, obviously I can move them over to time to contact as well, but I like the parse out piece. So when I'm looking at my segments, you can see I have this one called need to parse. And that's where I go into like processing these, right? And you'll see where I'm going here in a second. So I'm going to hit import and it's going to ask me a couple questions here. And so it says send a welcome email. No, I don't want to do that. Like some people do, some people don't. When I'm importing a bunch of people, I don't need to do that. If maybe I had created a webinar, something like that, a seminar, and I was going to be loading people in, maybe I would do it. But for this, I'm going to say no. Now, apply the following auto communication if applicable to each imported lead. Auto property alert, I added that piece. So I'm going to say, yeah, let's do that. Auto market snapshot, that I'm going to turn off. Auto market report, that I'll add. So the reason why I say that is the auto market report, when you're in a contact record, the market report is a monthly one, right? And you can go by zip code or you can go by city. And it'll grab that, and that's fine. I prefer to do my auto market reports to be as local as possible without being too local. So like, for instance, I live in this town called Gilbert in Arizona, And in Gilbert, there's like 5 or 6 zip codes. Off the top of my head, maybe it's 7. But of the 7 or 6, 6 or 7 zip codes, I live in one of them, obviously. So if I'm going to send something to my neighbor, we've got a town of over 250,000 people who live in the town of Gilbert. So what's happening literally 30 minutes away is different than what's happening here. I mean, it's a different market down there versus over there versus over here. We've got, the age of the homes here are relatively the same. You go a little bit further south, those are mainly newer. So there's a lot different things happening there. We go west of us, and those are even older than where we're at. And so those are a little bit less. There's different activity over there. It's a little bit more commercial. We're more residential and, strip mall-y, if you want to call it. So there's a big difference, right? So for the auto market report, I don't even want to put Gilbert. I want to just put 85234. But when I do my auto market snapshot, what I'm doing with that one is I'm doing that hyper local to their neighborhood, right? So for instance, the neighborhood I live in, it's got, it's a big square block, and then the next half of the next square block. And so I just type in the name, and it gives me a zip around, and it gives me my market snapshot. So anybody, if I'm doing any farming in my neighborhood and I have my neighbor's email address, I can just put in Val Vista Lakes, which is my neighborhood, and they'll get all the information. So their market snapshot, which I send every 2 weeks or every week, depending on my relationship with the person, they'll get that one every week. But the one they get for the entire zip code, that one's going to come out, once a month. So hyper local, more consistent, a little bit more local, regular, that's monthly. And so I'm going to hit confirm, and boom, now it's going to load these things in there. It takes a couple minutes, it says. Come back to see the results, and it just takes a second. And like I said, if I screwed up the import, one of the things that's nice is I can go into here and I can basically, clear it out. Now there's this other one that says, so if I did a bad job, here it is, lead import complete. That's basically just, I have a software that connects to my cell phone. That's this one here. So I can text right from my phone. That's where that message comes up. But I can look at the details. I can reverse that out, right? So it says 4 of them were merged. So I want to look at that report. I'm going to look at the details and see which one, so I can clean it up. And then if I did a bad job, if I look at it and I start cleaning these things up, I'm like, oh man, I really screwed this up. I can just reverse that out of there. Now, you have this option where it says scan your QR code with your phone's camera to import contacts via the Lofty app. So I can actually take my phone contacts and load them right into the system. I have way too many contacts on my phone that I need to clean up my phone first. Let's just say that before I would do that. But that's a nice little option for you. So that's importing your leads from Kvcore into Lofty. I'll show you real quick, like I said. What I would do next is just going into here, and I'm just going to clear my filters. So this is one little thing I've learned, is just clear your filters. And here's the need to parse. There they are. And I can go through these, and I can just click on them and, click, and go into engagement. And so this is the engagement. So the property alerts were set up. There's the market report for Mesa. And then the snapshot, I can go down. I see 85208 as the zip code. And so I'm just going to go in here, new market snapshot. It's going to pull it from the property address here. So I can either do it like a radius. I can just leave it like that. And in this instance, I'm actually going to. But if it was like my neighborhood, like a different neighborhood, I'm not going to, because if like my neighborhood, this line right here is baseline road, and above that's a different town. So I live closer to the border. So I like to keep things town, because things can happen just on the other side of the road, especially if you're truck crossing the road and going to a new town. So I just play it case by case, but I'm happy with this. So I'm going to hit next. I'm going to send the email off. I'm going to say, let's send that out once a week, because I like this guy. He's a good past client. Send it out Thursday afternoons. Save. Done. Now I could have customized that if I wanted to, but I've already done some of that in the back end. So, and I can show you that in another video. But yeah, long story short, this is how to import leads from Kvcore into Lofty. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.